Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Desert Dark Crusade Season 2. On this fine evening, we set the scene with, well, two former Primogen, considering the prince is now dead. In undisclosed location, as both the La Sombra and the Nosferatu tend to be quite picky about who they meet, where they live, what they do, and quite serious about their privacy. The meeting itself takes place within the Merchants District, within one of the many buildings there within one of the cellars, the basements. A quiet meeting spot, one that is secure for all. And as we shall set this scene, the area itself is not particularly, shall we say, it's not fit for royalty. It's literally just a basement. It's there's maybe a desk or so at the back of the room, a small table set up for the meeting itself. But other than that, it's a very plain. There's not really a lot down here. And the Primogen will, of course, be given a nice and secure escort, unless he simply wishes to make his way there himself.
No, he will go with his entourage if possible, particularly in this lack of prince and Primogen kind of titling. It's almost anyone's fair game at this point to go at each other if they desire to. Best one be prepared, particularly a man like Ali. His entourage, about four men, rather strong men, but also very disgusting. Quite frankly, these are obviously ghouls of his, just with the kind of mangledness of their faces and such. But he makes his way down to the basement as his men will occupy the upper parts of this building or what have you. Do what they do best: frighten the town folk, drink and harass anyone that they feel they want to, as they should.
They should. Kind of like a wildlife. Yes, as the Primogen heads on down, he's merely guided to a nondescript shop within the Merchants District. Doesn't stick out at all. So it's a very it's a place of great anonymity. I mean, it seems a fair bit of business, but it's off the main road. It's not particularly busy. It's fairly modest. And yeah, he can simply make his way down to the basement. The shopkeep, not necessarily owner, but the shopkeep, recognizing, well, not recognizing a band of thugs, but being told to expect individuals in these sorts of numbers. The Primogen would have been given a phrase to use. As a Nosferatu, he'll need to obfuscate himself, so his appearance will not necessarily be visible. But he's able to simply give the passphrase and head on down. Pretty much everyone in the Merchants District is under the La Sombra's thumb in some way or the other.
Yes, the image of Ali is very much an Arabic man, a rather kind of burly looking individual. There is upon his face is a a kind of pristine, kind of curly mustache, one that looks as if it has been constantly taken care of. That is what the clerk, this individual, sees as he goes down into the basement. Upon hearing the door closing, he will remove the false image and reveal himself in his glory.
Seneschal stands for him. It's quite dark. It's not a lot of light at all. The shadows have been manipulated to allow for less darkness. The area surrounding the table is visibly lighter, and the only shadow that seems to behave naturally in a room. By behave naturally, actually kind of move in reference to oneself or the light is the Nosferatu Primogens. But every other shadow seems to have kind of shifted away in a sort of circular fashion towards the table. There are some candles and an odd torch sconce, but literally only one. There's not much light in here, so the Primogen's face is quite dim in the darkness. But he will stand for the Primogen and or the former Primogen, and simply say, "Good to see you, Mr. Abois. My apologies for the lack of airspace." Kind of gestures towards the room. Unfortunately, we are in troubled times.
That is speaking very light of it, friend. It is. It is a time now of bandits and opening of old wounds, it seems, now that the prince, rest his soul, is no longer here.
So it would seem, and with it, our titles, but not necessarily our roles within our clans. I doubt anyone is contesting your leadership over the Nosferatu.
No. If they did, they are more than welcome to try. Ali will cut their heads before they could even think. But it would serve no purpose to do so.
Take a seat. Initially, remember inviting you to my presence regarding the issue of Dagon, although I believe that has resolved itself. However, I did wish to discuss what in particular has been happening within the catacombs of the city. Of course, we are aware it is, at the very least formally, of the Nosferatu. Doesn't particularly look to change, regardless of who becomes prince. There have been matters of concern regarding the issue of the plague, of course. The arrival of those Ancilla, I believe, came to negotiate with you. Word of other occurrences down within the catacombs. Of course, not within the Warrens themselves. Normally, I would not consider it my business, but considering that these issues have escalated above ground to the destruction of our prince, perhaps we should clear the air before things escalate further.
Yes, that would be quite needed.
The Seneschal simply sits back and just says, "You may start from wherever you're comfortable."
Well,
Just to just to make sure he's telling him what happened in the catacombs. I'm assuming.
Yeah, basically things that have happened within the catacombs that are stuff relating to the plague and potentially, obviously there is the issue of infernalism within the city, um, and other supernatural risks that are alien to Canaanites, foreign to them, that may need discussing. And he's basically asking the Primogen, "What can you tell me about that, which has been in the Warrens recently, Side-Eye?"
yes,
Catacombs.
yes, yes. He goes, with the plague rats. There was a disturbance when the entourage went down. A mental maze brought by this rat king, I would assume, made it incredibly difficult for everyone to make their way down until the flaw was discovered by a Malkavian, no less. When we finally got to the pit, large, pregnant rat creatures the size of little elephants and large dog ones and little biters and nippers. Many thought we would die, but not Ali. Ali knew that if we were to die, he was going to kill as many as possible. And obviously, he has not. But this talk of infernalism, as well as the rats themselves,
He kind of grits at his teeth a bit to before he speaks, and he says,
when me and my clan worked to seal the blood pools from which the rats had fed, we brought down a decent amount of wall to do so. We are as any ingenuitive to do so, but in doing so, we have uncovered a unusual thing, a door. Upon the door, carved into the rock, it is an image of a woman, her hands outstretched, beautiful yet repulsive. Upon her head, the symbol of Lilith was found.
Interesting. I thought your clan owned all the doors in the catacombs. No matter. I'd suspect it is likely a cache of that cult from days long by. I won't say days, I'll say nights. Doubtful that they have a significant presence here anymore. Although they are an unpredictable and loose organization. I'm curious to see what they would have kept in there.
Yes. The letters, it appeared upon the door. My ancient words and language is not so as articulate, but it seems to be very ancient. Perhaps before the Tower of Babel fell, the unified language, perhaps. Who can truly say in this age?
I could not say. I'm not educated on such matters. A curious for pursuit for one so academically inclined to reach out at. It's most likely that whatever means there is to open a door lies only within one who follows the teachings and road of Lilith herself. I doubt they would leave such passageway easily travelled by those not part of the cult itself. Fortunately, there is one so academically inclined. She's not already made contact with you?
Yes, Madeleine. A very sharp woman she is.
I'm sure the Seneschal Timrin will do a fine job in unmasking whatever is behind that infernal door. But if I may ask, what is it that troubles you in particular? You said you only found it recently. Was it always there?
That is what I am unsure of. The catacombs are long and vast. My clan and I, and those before that vanished, they kept very important.
He kind of scratches under his chin.
Let us say maps, if you will, of what we have known and where this door is. Well, there is no indication that the door had been there before. It does not look like a recent thing, but with a cult such as that, who can truly say if it has not been hidden by their dark magic, and its power has only waned now. But perhaps,
And he kind of looks to the Seneschal.
or perhaps the cult once it to be opened.
Concerning if true, but we would need evidence of that before going forward. We will see what is behind this door and deal with it appropriately. Of course, the only stake our clan has in it, and that is that there is one who wishes to investigate it. I'm sure your clan has the situation under control. I appreciate you informing us. As for any other activities that have been going on underground, what else could you provide us with? Of course, I do not say this as a seneschal of Cultus Domain. I simply speak of it as one elder to another to ensure mutual benefit and peace between our clans.
Aside from that door, we have found many long tunnels. Perfect tunnels for movement of able-bodied men to move them throughout the city and beyond it. If there ever came a time where soldiers could be used to infiltrate, well, that would be a good place for them. Or for those to hide.
Maybe worth preparing oneself, whatever is behind that door. Yes.
Yes. And also for more natural reasons. With the loss of the prince and of all title, there is no guarantee that the other princedoms, perhaps even the city of Fiorna, which has been silent again for many months, who is to say that they do not decide to begin expanding?
Speaking of outsiders, what can you tell me about this new Bruja that has recently arrived? And in effect claimed praxis, whether he states it willfully or not.
Al-Khatib al-Hube. Yes, that name is an influential name. Rumor, of course, but it is rumored that he had been at the side of Muhammad during the battle for Mecca, and that he had been one of the men in line to become a caliph. But rumor, of course, perhaps exaggeration, if anything. But he claims himself to be a holy man, an imam. And he has created sizable influence among the more feudal Arabs that dot the landscape. I consider myself quite a successful warlord, but he is a priest king. That is far more dangerous than any warlord.
He is a Saracen crusader.
Yes. One can only imagine what he would do if given the praxis, a prince, a Saracen crusader prince, who, as it is with all Saracens, to create an empire of Allah. I wonder what sort of actions he would do to Timaran, Acre, Jerusalem. All cities could become viable jewels for this man's crown.
If he is so aggressive, I doubt it would pass well. The town of Timurin, or its inhabitants, are generally used to more cosmopolitan attitudes related to the dream. Needless to say, considering the dream is in many ways a product of Christendom, I doubt it would pass well with this bourgeois either.
Yes,
I
perhaps.
wish to settle the disputes over praxis quickly and decisively, regardless of whether I am to be prince or not. I simply wish the conflict over it to end as quickly as possible and for us to have a capable leader at the helm. This bourgeois, from all that you have stated, does not seem to be that leader, but I suppose we shall see for ourselves at Timran's Elysium.
Yes, indeed. He is a very charismatic man. It is, as I said, a priest king. Priests and kings know how to bend the people's hearts to simple desires. Whether or not this man comes, Prince, that is, as you say, the Timaran Elysium will decide. But I can assure you, there is already sides being chosen.
No doubt.
And this is the opportune time to sweeten. And he visibly licks his teeth with a rather horrible looking kind of tongue. Goes to sweeten the pot. for one to garner support.
But could not be more certain. Does the Primogen look like he's waiting for something, for an offer to be made, or?
He's essentially, in a way, yes, he is. Being that it would perhaps it would be in the best position for someone who is wanting someone to be Praxis, to be Prince, to get as many elders on their side. Politics, after all.
The clan would be willing to work with Nosferatu for mutual benefit, as long as they can provide results.
The Nosferatu always bring results. Of that you have no doubts.
Perhaps then we can discuss the terms of an arrangement at a later date.
Yes. Do not want.
He looks about the basement, kind of goes,
Do not want sneaky ears to hear. After all,
and he kind of gets up from his seat, and you see him kind of willing the blood, return the image of the burly man. He goes,
my friend, perhaps at the Elysium you and I can have a toast to the future endeavors of our clans.
I'd be delighted.
and he will kind of bow his head a bit, as if still respecting the title of Seneschal, if ever kind of unnecessarily so, but it's the thought that counts. He's about to go. What was it that the Seneschal needed to say?
Nothing. In particular, he was just gonna say, please don't let me keep you in here any more longer than is necessary, because obviously this place isn't prettiest. Not the best place for a meeting, in the sense that it's very secret, it's very secure. Like in the sense that it's, you know, you would expect me to have a conversation here. At the same time, it's not exactly a local palace or some great building. You know, it's pretty meh from a visual standpoint. Hardly fit for royalty and people of superior station. So
Yes. Very
yeah.
much. He will walk up the stairs and leaving the establishment will commune with his men, and with that he will with them go off into the night. He has much scheming to do.
And with that, once the Primogen also exits, it will simply disappear from view, fall into shadow, and we can end the scene there. Thank you. Wow, we're all storytellers, so thank you, storytellers. We're all great, aren't we great?
Yes.
And thank you, watchers, watching. We'll see you next time.